Hey everyone and welcome. In this video we look at an article in Breitbart regarding the BBC and what Nigel Farage thinks of their future. Ooh, this should be good, shouldn't it?
And I do believe that we have rotten politics, and I'm not using that as an exaggeration.
The BBC have been one of the main anti-Farage medias and has gone after Nigel his entire political career. It's titled, Farage, BBC's days are numbered, will face new media challenges. Now this is something we've been saying for a while, isn't it? We've been predicting the BBC to fall for some time, and the rise of YouTube commentators and journalists proves it. Compare the numbers of the views and likes that YouTubers get compared to the MSM views and likes, and you'll see what I mean. Lamestream is done. Even Farage thinks it. The BBC can't stop licensing and go to a subscription model. If they had to compete with other lamestream channels, i.e. ITV, Channel 4, etc., for advertising revenue, I think they'd find it nigh on impossible, even if, and this is doubtful, even if they improve programming quality. Let's read what Nigel thinks, shall we, and have a giggle. Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage has said that the BBC's days are numbered after the British broadcaster introduced charges for over 75s and its biased coverage of recent events such as the Black Lives Matter disorder. I like the way that they say disorder, because it was and is. On Thursday, the BBC announced that it would follow through on its plans to start charging pensioners over the age of 75, absolutely disgusting this is, to watch television through the compulsory £157.50 a year TV licence. I think they're trying to make sure that people don't want to pay for the licence, aren't they? It's the elderly that are the only ones that still watch media, to be honest, mainly, isn't it? Mr Farage condemned the move, saying, "You can't give something to people and take it away. It makes the BBC look mean and mean-spirited. My guess would be that there will be a fair number of over 75s who are naturally law-abiding, afraid of the authorities, probably pretty hard up, and many will struggle to pay this." The Taxpayers Alliance also criticised the charge, saying it shows the BBC would rather fleece pensioners, good description of it, I agree with that term, fleece pensioners, than cut its wasteful diversity budgets and top star salaries. Late last month, the BBC announced that it was going to invest £100 million to produce more diverse and inclusive content, paid for by us. Great, isn't it? The BBC has come under criticism for its coverage of the Marxist Black Lives Matter UK protests, which quickly turned violent in the early weeks of June after one weekend in London that saw 27 Metropolitan Police officers injured. The public broadcaster described the demonstrations as largely peaceful. Not just the BBC, that was mainstream media across the world were describing them as largely peaceful, even though the footage said that they weren't, giving rise to the Defund the BBC campaign. If you haven't defunded the BBC, i.e. stopped your licence, why not? Hurry up, get it done. Farage slammed the BBC for its part in portraying the UK as a seething cesspit of racists and bigots, as it platformed the Marxist movement's narratives. A seething cesspit of racists and bigots. It's lovely being described as that by your national news organisation, isn't it? The Brexit Party leader said on Thursday there is a broader point. Trust in the BBC, according to the Reuters Institute, has fallen by another 20% since 2018. There is a massive change going on in this country. I agree, actually, that more and more people, I'm calling it enlightenment, more and more people are red-pilling, aren't they? They're realising that the media are not our friends. They're there to direct us and to tell us what to think and what to do and what to say. No more. Whilst the BBC may be respected all over the world, not anymore. They used to be because of the World Service. Not anymore, though. They're as respected as CNN. That should tell you everything, shouldn't it? And whilst the World Service may be doing a good job, it was. The BBC, with every crisis that we face, shows it to be totally London-centric, as far away from Middle England as it ever could possibly be. I think its days are numbered. Yeah, I agree, Nigel. I think the idea that we're all going to go on paying over £150 a year for this thing is for the birds. It'll take time for it to go because the status quo is a very powerful thing. Trust in the BBC is disappearing. I think what you're going to see are media challenges to the BBC and others that will spring up over the course of the next year or two. I actually agree with the media challenges. They're already springing up. They're all over the YouTube, and that's why YouTube's trying to take everyone down at the minute. They don't like the fact that truth and facts can be out there, everyone. That's what this is. In regards to how long it's going to go, even the Tories really, let me just state this, even the Tories don't want to get rid of the BBC. It is a very, very good propaganda arm for politicians, but, and there is a but, they're partisan now, aren't they? They're not doing it for the Tories, so I think they're going to be pushed into the corner of shutting it all down. They have no choice. The BBC are not doing the propaganda of the government, are they? They're doing the propaganda of the Marxists and the nut jobs on the left. In the United Kingdom, anyone who watches live broadcasting must pay for the BBC's TV licence, even if they do not consume any BBC material. Nearly 200,000 Britons have already cancelled their television licence, with young people switching off ante and turning into streaming services like Netflix and Amazon Prime. Most Britons say they do not trust BBC journalists to tell the truth. No, that's actually, it's not the case, that Breitbart. What I would say is most Britons do not trust journalists. Take the BBC out, just journalists in general, if they work for mainstream media. I'm sorry to say this as well, Breitbart, but that includes yourselves. To tell the truth, with some 2/3 thinking the broadcaster is biased. All media is biased now. A CityVast study from 2018 found that Eurosceptic voices had been suppressed over the years on the Today programme, BBC Radio 4's flagship news programme, and everything else. Brexit has been suppressed since we actually voted for it. Half of Britons think that the BBC should earn its own money either through advertising or a subscription service. I actually think that would be suicide and a surefire way for them to demise. While another poll had said that nearly 3/4 of Britons want the TV licence abolished entirely. Now, what's my opinion on this? The BBC are dying. They're desperate. That's why they've become so divisive. But this, in my opinion, has sped up the demise. So expect a lot more crazy propaganda before it goes. You want proof of its demise? Look at the previous story I did about MPs getting rid of the licence due to a podcast that was racist to white women called No Country for Young Women. This is the start of the move of the people to independent news sources. We have been enlightened by the media. They have red-pilled a lot of people to see the lies, haven't they? And it's only going to get worse for them. As more and more move to us, the media will get more and more desperate to hold on to the power they've wielded for centuries. So what do? We keep spreading the Enlightenment. Make people aware of the lies. Red-pill people, so to speak. Bring them onto the internet and show people how to find truths of their own. This will speed up the demise of the propaganda machine that is directing the country's outrage. This also leads me on to a plea, everyone. Share out my channel, please. Let's take over the media spot with truth and honesty, shall we? But anyway, I'd like to know your opinion on this one. We all know that the BBC are dying, but politicians are starting to come out of the woodwork and say you're dying as well. So it's very heartwarming, isn't it? It's the start of the downfall. If you are new, don't forget to hit the like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you on the next one.